Hey guys, welcome back. I hope you're doing good this evening. I hope everything is going well. In today's video, I'm going to be mulching my blueberry plants for the winter. Now what I did was I took a soil test, and blueberries love an acidic soil. I've read even they would like to go down as low as a 4.5, but all the articles I read and everything, generally it's a 5 to a 5.5 or 6. So I took a soil test, mine's at a 7. So I've got to amend the soil a little bit. Now, what I did when I planted these was I put half sphagnum peat moss and half dirt, and I mixed that together, and that's what I planted them in. Now, unless my soil tests are bad, which I don't think that's the case, or everybody is wrong about adding peat moss to your blueberry plants, because I heard that several different places. I think that the sphagnum peat moss just lost its acidity. And so it's one of those things, when you read up on this stuff, it's not going to last forever. One of the reasons why, when I made that video on amending my potato plant, where I'm going to plant my potatoes, amending the soil there, I chose garden sulfur because it just seemed like everything I read, it was going to work better and last a little bit longer. And so that's what I'm going to use here. Now, if you're thinking about getting blueberries, one of the things I should have done was I should have amended this soil even before I planted them. My problem is a lot of times I do things at the spur of the moment. I seen them and I wanted them and I bought them, and then, like I say, I called a guy that's really good at growing them, and he gave me some advice, and I read a few articles, and so I think they're doing fine. They just need to get that pH lower. Clay soil just naturally runs with a high pH, okay? So a couple things about blueberries, if you are thinking about getting them, and this isn't a planting video, but if you are thinking about getting them, you got to have two different varieties. They're not self-pollinating, so that's something you always want to keep in mind if you're wanting to get them, okay? They like moist soil, but they don't like standing water and things like that. So that kind of makes it tough sometimes in clay soil too. So how I'm going to amend this and why: one, I'm going to use some garden sulfur, and that's going to help get that pH down. And two, I'm going to use some sphagnum peat moss, and that should help with any standing water over the winter, because this stuff sucks up a lot of water. So hopefully that will help, and sphagnum peat moss is going to help lower that pH too. Now, I looked a lot of places trying to find out exactly how much garden sulfur to use on one plant. And finally, I found one article said 3 ounces per plant. Now, to me, that seems like a lot. And this is where, guys, you're the gardener. You're the guy doing this. You do what you think is best. I've said it before in other videos. Once you put it in there, it's really hard to get back out. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 2 ounces and the sphagnum peat moss, and then I'm going to let that go for a couple months, and then I'm going to test the soil again and just see where we're at. Now, to double check and just make sure that my soil tests aren't bad or something's not right with it, I'm probably going to take a little garden sulfur and use it with a pH tablet, and I'll show you the results of that. I'll also show you the results of the pH test that I took, when I decided to do all this. So how I'm going to do this is I'm just going to take a little bit and I'm just going to sprinkle it around. And they say go to the drip line of the branches. And I just want to spread it around and I don't want to use too much, because you can actually, too much, you could burn your plant up. So I don't want to do that. like I say, if I have to add a little more, I'll just add a little more. By this summer and everything, we should be okay. Now, one way you can tell if you're deficient or your pH is off, the leaves will be yellow. See, my leaves aren't yellow, so I know it isn't bad yet. Your blueberries won't produce very well. They're not going to grow very well. So if you've got those conditions, you might want to look at your pH. So that's what I'm going to do there. And then I'm just going to kind of mix it into that soil a little bit. And when I did my soil test, what I did was I actually took one of these that I used the water, and I put it down in there, pulled it out, and then did it again. And I got that soil test down 5 or 6 inches, down really deep. So I knew I had, that's where I want that pH, that's where I want to test that. I don't really want to test it on the top of the soil. I wanted to get down low, and it still wasn't very good. So I'm just going to take some of this, and I'm just going to put it around here, and I'm just going to cover that up, and I'll probably add a little more. But what I want to do now, where is it? I just want to put in a little bit of water and water that in. And then I'm going to add some more peat to it, get it up where the water won't stand in it. And then I've got 3 more plants that I'll do that to. And like I say, next spring, I'll come and check it again. And, you know, if it's still a little high, I'll just add a little more. But, hey, that's the video. I hope it helps. You know, I've never raised blueberries before, but I hope it turns out good. So, hey, you guys have a good night. I'll talk to you later. See ya.